everybody! I don't have a recipe for you this week, but I do need to put out content, so today I'm gonna do something that I wanted to do for a long time. I'm gonna try to make this brand new cast iron skillet old. So let's get started. Cast iron purists covet vintage skillets like a squirrel covets nuts. So much so that old pans sell for exorbitantly high prices if and when you can find one. And from the very brief bit of research I've done on this, there are two contributing factors that make up the difference between old iron and new iron. First difference being the weight of the pan. This brand new skillet is quite heavy for its size. That said, it's built like a tank and it's gonna last several lifetimes if it's not abused. Here is an old skillet of just about the same size. I don't know who made this thing. It was just an old rust bucket that I literally found half buried in the yard. And it is noticeably lighter than this new pan. Let's just see what the difference is. This new pan is 5.8 pounds. The old pan, which is slightly smaller, but very similar in size. This one is 3.4 pounds, so that is quite a bit of difference. Now, I am a big, strong, manly man, so the weight of this cast iron skillet doesn't really affect my opinion of it. And a big, heavy pan does help with even heating. This lighter one I can toss around quite easily. However, the issue with some lighter skillets is that with heavy use, all that heating and cooling can warp the pan. And this one, you will see, is not completely flat anymore. And that is something that I do not like. Now, the second and probably more important reason that these old pans are held in such high regard is that they have a smooth finish. In the old-timey days, the skillets were cast and then sanded down to this smooth finish. Today, they just cast and blast, and that leaves this rough-textured, pitted cooking surface. So it does seem obvious that the smooth skillet should perform better than the rough one. So I want to smooth out this new pan and see if it actually makes a significant difference in pan performance. Pan performance. I just want to see if it makes the pan more slickery for cooking. These new skillets come pre-seasoned, so the first thing I want to do is strip off all of the factory seasoning oil, and to do that, I'm going to commit the cardinal sin of cast iron cookery. I'm going to run this thing through the dishwasher. I'd say we got all of the oil off of that. And now that really highlights all those little pits and pockets that come with these. So now, let's get this thing out to the shop and see about putting that showroom shine on it. I have a number of tools that I could approach this with, but I'm going to begin with the most basic DIY type stuff because I want to see how accessible this is for people that don't have a lot of tool time under their belt. So at the very bottom of the list is just good old sanding pads. I'm not sure what this is. It's pretty coarse, probably 60 grit. Let's just hit that in a spot here and see how that does. Well, you can see that even that has started to take those lumps down. So if you've got a whole lot of time on your hands, you could probably just do this with sanding pads. Now, I don't have a ton of time on my hand, so the next stage up would be some sort of a sander. I've got this little orbital guy. I'll have to take this filter off to fit it down in there. And I will start with some 60 grit pads and then work my way through if it seems to be working. Next stage after this would be the angle grinder. And if that was taking too long, I do have a very powerful high-speed sander that I am positive would do the job, but I don't really want to break that out for this because that's a pretty specialized piece of equipment. And I definitely want to wear a respirator with this because it's going to throw dust all over the place, and by the end of this I do expect to be blackened like a catfish. Let me get this plugged in. We'll get a 60 grit pad on there and see how we do. Now I'm probably under 10 minutes into this, but let's take a look. It is definitely working. If I had some 30 grit paper, it would probably be going even faster, but this seems to be coming along pretty well. And what I really like about the Orbital is that these soft, spongy edges here work up into that crease really nicely. That's getting smoothed out, and of course I'm mainly concerned with the bottom and just the beginning of that lip there as far as getting it very smooth. So I'm just going to continue on with this and see how long it takes to get this basically smooth, and then we'll move to the next grit. I'm still only about 15 minutes into this, but you can see that there is some heavier pitting here and over here and basically along the rim here. So I think the center of these is just slightly humped up a little bit. Well, that channel there, it's going to take a little while to get out. Ideally you want to sand everything down to that level. Now, just to show you the speed of the angle grinder on here, I also have this loaded up with a 60 grit disc, and we'll spin that around in there for a minute. Now that works very well. It's real aggressive though, so I'm going to have some scratches in there to work out, but I've almost got these deeper pits out of there after just a few minutes. It's getting pretty shiny now. I think I'm ready to step it up to the 80 grit. Take out the 60 grit scratches, and then that'll reveal any deeper gouges that I need to work out. Hopefully there aren't any. It's getting really... I'm just chasing out some of the very fine 60 grit scratches in there. And then I'm just going to continue to step up the grit of the sanding pads until I like the look of it. And you can go as smooth as you want. You can stop right here, and that is already quite smooth. But I'm going to keep going with this to make it really nice. Hopefully. And I do like the action of the Orbital here because it is round and it is easy on your hands to use. It's going to take a while longer, but certainly doable without breaking out the angle grinder. So I gave this a good scrubbing with some hot soapy water to get all the dust and rust off of there, and now we're gonna season it. So I like to use lard or shortening. Shortening's a really good option because it's very highly refined and is not gonna gum up on you. I happen to have a bunch of homemade bear lard, and that will work out just fine for this. So I'm gonna get this pan warmed up, get some oil in there, get it blazing hot, and I'll swirl it all around the inside. And when it gets cool enough, I'll start rubbing that into the pan, and I'm gonna do the inside and the outside.
Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes.
Check out that bite. So how did we do? Still working on getting this thing fully seasoned up, but it did very well. It's definitely more slickery than a brand new cast iron skillet. But here's the deal. This is my old, well-used cast iron skillet. And this is the newer style, and you can see that the bottom is fairly smooth. And that's because over time, all those little pits and pockets fill in with oils and carbonate, and that is your seasoning. And it is a bit of a myth that cast iron pans are non-stick. It's really your seasoning that is non-stick. So as far as pan performance goes, this well-seasoned cast iron skillet does just as well as the one that I sanded down. So was it worth it? Well, I think it looks pretty cool, and it does speed up that process of getting the bottom smoothed out. So I would say if you already have the tools, it is worthwhile. It's pretty cool, and it'll make a great gift. I think I might do a couple of these for some of my foodie friends. And if I threw one of these up on my high-speed sander, it would go very quickly. I could probably crank one of these out in an hour or so. So for this one, I'll probably end up finishing off the sides and making it all nice and shiny inside. Of course, that is going to color up over time pretty quickly. It's already begun to. As I get this thing well used and well seasoned, it should get pretty darn blue-black. So it is a fun little project to do. You get a pretty neat looking pan. You could probably get yourself a nice little Etsy side hustle peddling these, but I'm gonna leave that to you guys because I am busy. And if you've never tried bacon jalapeno cheese pancakes, you're missing out. Thanks for watching.